Hi sweethearts, it's Amber. Today is Saturday. Welcome to my bathroom. So we have a free week this week, so I'm going to talk about STPs and Packers and kind of show you the ones that live in our house and that we use. Well, I use the STPs, I don't use the Packers. So we've got 3 STPs and 3 Packers. In case you're not familiar with the term STP, an STP is a stand-to-pee device, or also called a FUD, or a female urination device. So they were created partly for the trans community and partly for women who need to be able to not have to sit down or in places where there aren't bathrooms. So I'm going to talk through the 3 Packers first and kind of show you what they are, and then we'll talk through the STPs. So this was the first one that Stefan got. This is the Mr. Limpy. It was about $10 and it works pretty well. The few things about this that he's noticed and mentioned to me, it does tend to, when you first get it, this one's a little older so it doesn't do it. When you first get it, it stands straight up, and it kind of takes a while of putting it, for your guy, like putting it in his underwear and wearing it around for it to kind of stay. It's extra sticky, so it is definitely one where if it's going to be your guy's primary one, that he would want to have some cornstarch or Packer dust or something to try and absorb a little of the moisture, because even now, you can maybe see a little bit of it kind of coming off of my hands, but if you push it down, it'll stay because it's sticky. But it's definitely on the cheapest end of the ones that we found. But for a starter and kind of figuring out if this is something that your guy wants to do on a regular basis, I think $10 is a pretty easy investment for the majority of people. So that's the Mr. Limpy. Put his sticky self over there. I think the second one that Stefan bought was this one, which is the Masho. The Masho, it actually comes like this. So it is molded to sit flat, which is nice because I think for him, he knows that it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to move. It's not going to end up in a weird position between the 2 parts of it. This one is torn, so I won't show you the torn part, but he bought this online for about $15, $20, $12. I'm going to say $12. So it was $12 plus shipping, so I think it was around $15, $16 when it was all said and done. This is his favorite, and it's the one that he wears like every day. I think compared to the Mr. Limpy, it is smaller overall. The shaft is not as wide. The testicles are not nearly as big. So if your guy's wanting something that's a little bigger, this isn't really going to do that. But I think the quality is a little better. It gets a little sticky, but it doesn't get as sticky. So from what I've seen, at least from those 2, the quality is definitely a lot better. The third one that Stefan bought was the Good Vibes Sailor pack. This one was about $25. It smelled like cupcakes when I got here, so that was kind of cool. It's probably the most, I would say the testicles are probably the most realistic of the 3 sets in terms of the way they look, but the shaft is the least realistic of the 3. So it's kind of a get what you get. I think this is the 6-inch model. I'm looking at him as my camera holder. I think it's the 6, as I put it against my hand. I think this is the 6-inch one.
Might be the 5.5 inch.
Or maybe 5.5 inch.
Because both of those are technically like the 3-inch.
Yeah. So in terms of this one, what we really found with this one is it's a nice one, but the size is nice if you really want to have a good size bulge, but it tears really, really easily. So, and Stefan found this in talking to some other folks on some of the forums, that it just tears pretty easily. So it's definitely nicer than the other 2, but if it tears easily, this is one that there's 2 of them sitting in a drawer that he doesn't wear either of them because Dante wants to be in the video apparently. trying to figure out what we're doing. So he doesn't use either of these or wear either of these on any sort of regular basis because both of them are torn. We have 3 STP devices in our house. This is a medicine spoon style. They come in packs of 2. They're like $5 or something at pretty much any drugstore. They're about $5 at pretty much any drugstore you go to, and it's for 2 of them. So they generally have like a little thumb spot on the back, which most people are going to cut off and I guess make sure that it's not sharp. Use a lighter or something, and then he cut the end off to make sure that so things could pass through pretty easily. This one for me is the hardest to get in the right spot, but if you can get it in the right spot, it is the one of the 3 that will not overflow. So I'll do a little water demonstration so people can see how it works. So it works pretty well. So if it's right up against you, it will not overflow, and comes out pretty easily. It doesn't really spray or anything, at least from what I've seen. It's the one that I've only used a couple times because I can never find the right spot. So that's the medicine spoon. The second one that we got was this one, which is the Go Girl. The Go Girl you can buy from their website, which I think is gogirl.com or something, for about $12 plus shipping and handling. It is very much made for women. They don't really market to trans men, even though it's kind of a nice market for them. But it also came in this tube, so it folds up pretty well. There's a bag inside the tube as well. So if you're traveling and you've used it but you aren't able to wash it out, you can put it in the bag and then stick it back in the tube, and then when you get home, clean it out. So they really market it for, camping, boating, sports, if you're in a concert or something, or someplace where it's either porta potty or nothing. So for me, this one's okay for me. It's not the one that I like the best. It tends to overflow on me. Stefan, he likes this one the best. It's the one that he has the least issues with. But this is definitely not one where your guy would be able to use this out in public at all. So it's not really, if the desired outcome is that he can stand at a urinal, this one's not really going to do it for him. But in terms of being able to practice standing and urinating, which is something that female-bodied folks are just not used to, this is a good one for that. So the way that you use this one, there's 2 little finger spots. So you'll kind of put your fingers on the 2 spots, put it up underneath. It's one that works best if it's flush against your body. And then you kind of have to play around with the placement to figure out how to get your stream to kind of go straight down the hole. It also has a rectangular end. So what I find that does is, because this part is circular and the end is rectangular, as it comes out it kind of spins, so it also keeps it pretty neat and keeps it from spraying at all. So we'll kind of run some water through that. So works pretty well. Like I said, my biggest issue with this one is that it tends to overflow on me. But that's because I have a pretty strong flow. It works pretty well, so you can kind of see. I'll lift it up so you can kind of see it empty itself out. So it empties out pretty neat, and it works pretty well if you can get used to it and figure out what you gotta do. The one that we got this week is the Venus. This is manufactured by a company in Canada. It's injection molded silicone, so it does have bubbles. You can kind of see there on the end, there's some bubbles, but it doesn't affect the functionality of it at all. This is one of 2 models they sell. This is the regular Venus that is really mostly marketed towards women. They also have a Mr. Venus, which is a little bit longer, and then the head area of this will look more like the head of a penis. So the goal is, if someone glances over a urinal, that it would pass enough. In close inspection, it's not going to look like the real thing, but the hope is that someone glancing over would look at it and go, oh, okay, well, whatever. This one, in terms of use, is pretty similar to the Go Girl. There's kind of a break where I'm guessing the molds fit together. So this is the one that I've been using this week to just kind of see if it works and see how it works. So I've been holding it here. You don't have to really hold it in the back or anything. And then put it up, put it against your stuff. And I've had the least amount of issues with this. It was the one of the three that the first time I used it, I was able to use it with no issues. And it will overflow, because all of these have the ability to overflow. And I've used it maybe a dozen times, and it's overflowed, like significantly overflowed on me once, and had a couple drips once because I didn't have it exactly in the right spot. So for me, this is the one that I like the best. And then I'll do a little water test as well. So you can kind of see how this one works. And I'm going to fill it up so you can kind of see how that works. The one thing about this one that's different from the other two, because you're holding it like this and the hole is straight out at the end as opposed to slightly down, when you pull it away from, when you're using it, when you pull it away from your body, you actually do have to kind of tip it and dump out whatever's in there, because it will actually hold a little water between the bottom of this hole, and if it's sitting horizontal, it'll kind of keep maybe a ½ ounce of water or pee in there. So it's definitely one where either as you're using it, you can kind of point it down to fix that problem, or as you're pulling it away from your body, just kind of turn and dump it in the toilet. But this one has worked really great for me. It's not something that I'll use on a regular basis, but we're going on a cruise here in a bit, so I might actually take it with me on the cruise in case we're somewhere and there's a super gross bathroom. Because I'm sure for the women watching this, and for the trans guys watching it, we've all been in that restroom where you're like, I do not want to sit on this toilet. So I think any of these three are nice to have one to carry with you if you're traveling or something, so that if you encounter one of those restrooms where you don't want to sit down, that you don't have to. So at the end of this, what I would say in terms of both the STPs and the Packers is just kind of commit that you're going to buy a couple different ones and kind of try around, especially with the STPs. I think if you're looking for one, I think it's worth it to buy a couple different ones and see what works for you. Because just because a friend of yours or someone on a Facebook forum or something says this one is amazing doesn't mean that it'll be amazing for you. There are a lot of people that I've seen on the Facebook groups who love the medicine spoon ones, and it just doesn't work for me. I've not been able to figure it out. There are folks who love the Phoenix. I really like the Phoenix. There are people who love the Go Girl, like Stefan loves the Go Girl. So I would definitely recommend, spending $40, buy a couple of them. You could get all three of these for $40 and kind of see what's going to work the best for you. And then in terms of Packers, I think, like I said, I think the Mr. Olympia is a great starter Packer because it's only $10. So it's a nice one to kind of figure out if that's something that your guy's going to want to do, because not all guys will pack, because for some people that's just not what they want to do, or it's not comfortable, or they haven't found one that really meets their needs. So I hope everybody's had a great week. Have a great weekend. It's raining here in Dayton, so hopefully wherever you are, it is sunny and beautiful. And I'll see everybody next week.